Hi, Melanie Chris here with Community Therapy Services, wanting to talk to you about activities that you can do with items that you might find around your house to work on skills to help with school. Today I want to talk about items you can use from your kitchen to work on fine motor skills. Various types of fine motor skills, in-hand manipulation, being able to move things from palm to finger and finger to palm, being able to flip things in your fingers, the ability to grade pressure, softer or harder, to be able to move things or manipulate things, the ability just to develop more fine motor strength in your hands. So there's a lot of different things that you can work on with some simple things that you might find in your kitchen. And that's what I just did. Went to my kitchen, found a whole bunch of materials that I might be able to use as part of my therapy sessions, or things that you can use at home with your students. So let's start with straws and toothpicks. Most people probably can find some straws and some toothpicks in their house. I'll pull a few of these things out. A lot of activities, I encourage you to go just look around in your kitchen, look at things, and creatively think, what could I do with that to make it fun with my child, with my student, while working on necessary skills that they need to work on. A lot of times creating games or competitions can be fun between parent and student, or therapist and student. And so something, or a game that you could play, is how quickly you can get 5, 10, or whatever number you pick, toothpicks in the straw. So ready, set, go. So we're working on a lot of grasp skills. We're working on the ability to oppose our thumb to our index and middle finger. And this should translate to working on developing a pencil grasp. So that's a fun activity you can do with a straw and some toothpicks. Before I put all the toothpicks away, another activity you can do is, if you have, some people might have paper in their kitchen, but I have a few things over here that I got elsewhere, not in my kitchen. And one is, well, this is a foam paper, but a construction paper and a toothpick. You can have your child or student work on making letters, shapes, numbers, using a toothpick and just poking through the paper. So poking holes to make whatever shape, design, letter, number. If you're going to work on letters or numbers, I would encourage you, so I was just working on the letter E, to have them start where they would start and follow the exact pattern that they would if they were using a pencil. All right. So what else might we find in the kitchen? Most of you probably have a colander in a kitchen, and I'm going to borrow something that I found in another room, some pipe cleaners that some of you might have. Something fun to do with students would be to see how quickly they could push a pipe cleaner, or so many pipe cleaners, all the way inside. I know I have actually a couple colanders, so if you by any chance had a couple, you could do a race. Or if you don't have a couple, see how long it takes the student to get so many pipe cleaners in the colander, and then see how long it takes you, and have a competition that way. So that's something fun you can do. Again, most of these things I'm showing you so far are really helpful in working to develop a pencil grasp. What else? Let's see. Pipe cleaner. Oh, let's see. Okay. I had some little containers. You probably have some containers that you would end up going to throw away, and you could use the lid and poke some holes in it and do something similar. So instead of a colander, see how quickly, and I just poked some real little holes, you can push, and this one's more challenging with this small container, but how long it takes to push the entire pipe cleaner into some container that you poked holes through. As another example. All right, here's a fun one with some food items. So, a lot of households have some Cheerios, some kind of cereal with a circle in the middle, and spaghetti. So we're going to get out some spaghetti and some Cheerios. And I'm borrowing something from another room, some Play-Doh. You could use styrofoam, so you might find some styrofoam somewhere as an alternative. So I'm going to just make a little blob. Not too flat, because we're going to take our spaghetti, break it in half. You could have the student help you with this. And we're going to poke some noodles into our Play-Doh. Again, this is something that you could make into a competition if you wanted to add some extra challenge and fun. And then take your Cheerios, and let's see how quickly we can get one Cheerio on each spaghetti noodle. Now, you can make this make this a little bit more difficult by perhaps using tweezers or tongs. There's lots of different. We talked about the straw earlier. Take that straw, bend it in half. Now you've got some tongs. Whoop. I did not try this earlier to see if Cheerios would be something I could pick up. Ooh, I can. Very challenging, where you have to grade the pressure just right to be able to, whoop, didn't get it. Scooting it back over. Let's see. There goes the straw. So this is a challenging task, but a very good one. A lot of concentration required. I still didn't get it. Got it. Got that one. So this could be an activity that you could use with some students that are a little bit older. That would be a big challenge for them that they would enjoy. Okay, so I'm going to put away our spaghetti and our Cheerios. There's lots of, speaking of tongs, there are lots of different things that you could do or find in your kitchen to turn into tongs or to use like tongs, such as the straw. Put our Play-Doh away. I found some strawberry hullers. Those would be good. Or chip clip. Some larger tongs. And you can even make your own tongs. Save your popsicle sticks. So save your popsicle sticks and borrow from another room some rubber bands if you can find them. And if you have a pom-pom, that would be fantastic, or just crumple up a piece of paper. Take your 2 popsicle sticks, wrap a couple small rubber bands around the top, and then insert the pom-pom in between the 2, and now you've got some tongs that you can use to pick up some smaller things. You can put something else in there to make it open wider if you need a wider opening, tongs that open wider, or tweezers that open wider. So lots of things that you can do with these tweezers or tongs. So let's talk about some. Some people might use this as an alternative to using clothespins, and take it and put it onto your pencil, and then you hold on to Like if this were a clothespin, it'd come down a little further and you'd hold on to it with your, what we like to call our stop fingers. Our ring finger and our pinky finger don't do anything other than stabilize, just kind of hang out. But these fingers do the work. And so this could be a grip tool that could help with the chip clip. What else with the tweezers? We could play some games. Have an egg carton and some manipulatives. Now some manipulatives in the kitchen might be Lucky Charms. We might use some Lucky Charms manipulatives, and we could do things like see how quickly we can put these items in each of the egg container openings. Or I have two of each matching, and make sure, or the parent or the therapist could have an item in each opening and where the student has to match, or the student just has to find the matches and put the matches in themselves so that they're matching. So you could play a game like that. You could play a game like Drop It Like It's Hot, where you're picking up things with some tongs and dropping it in the appropriate container. You want to make sure, sometimes some cereal can squish easily, so this is another good activity to work on adjusting the amount of pressure used with your hands. So those are all fun games, and you can modify them. You can use different tweezers and tongs. You can use an egg carton. You can use little containers that you find around your kitchen as a place to drop into for fun games. You can also take your tweezers and play a game, a stacking game. So I'll just take these for example. I was trying this earlier. We'll see if it works well. I had some pennies in my kitchen in one of the drawers. And I'm going to take these large tongs and I'm going to see if I can stack some pennies all with heads up. So I'm going to have to adjust and move, find one. If it's not heads up, I'm going to have to figure out ways that I can flip it over and then bring it over here and stack it. So really working on adjusting pressure with the hands, fine motor control to twist, move, manipulate, and stack. So you get the picture. So many things. Like these are just some things that I thought of just this evening when I was looking around in my cabinets and drawers. But there are others I want to show you. Okay, so we've done toothpick and straw, we've done toothpick and construction paper, pipe cleaner in the colander, pipe cleaners in the containers, Cheerios and spaghetti stacking. I wanted to show you, speaking of spaghetti. Okay, have you ever played the game Kerplunk? My kids and I, my boys and I used to love to play. Well, I have some styrofoam cups here, and I created my own version of Kerplunk by poking spaghetti noodles in the cup, cutting out the bottom of this cup, cutting out the bottom of this cup, and then putting an opening here. Okay, it's probably best if you tape that, but then you can, maybe you have some cereal that's round, because usually Kerplunk is with marbles. So I have some crunch berries, and I'm going to dump the crunch berries in here. Okay, and then you can take turns looking and very carefully trying to decide which piece of spaghetti noodle can you take out and drop the least amount of crunch berries. Oh, one came out the bottom right here. So and the person with the least amount of crunch berries, or whatever the item is in here, is the winner at the end. So anyway, so that's a fun game that you can play, Kerplunk. Homemade version, very cheap homemade version. Out of kitchen supplies. Okay, I'm going to set this down here. All right, so let's see. Ziploc bags can come in handy. Most of you would probably have Ziploc bags in your kitchen. One thing that I saw someone had suggested was taking a straw, putting it in a Ziploc, sealing the Ziploc as much as you can, and then blowing into the Ziploc to create a balloon. Quickly closing it and sealing it up, you've got a little balloon. And sky's the limit on the types of things you can do with balloons, and things like a balloon toss, okay? Working on eye-hand coordination. You can take a paper towel holder and you can draw some design. So you could do this with this, or if you have an actual balloon, that'd be a great idea too. Drawing maybe some animals on the balloons and using the paper towel to maybe have a race, or to encourage your child or your student to quickly push it across the room and into the barn. What else? Tennis, balloon tennis, where you're having the student tap the balloon. This is a lot harder than an actual balloon. However, for students where hitting with a balloon is very easy, this would be a nice grade up or step up, a nice extra challenge, an added challenge. Okay, also with Ziplocs, we can fill those with various sensory materials and create a sensory Ziploc, flour, rice, if you have access to water beads, Play-Doh even. And if you're going to create a sensory Ziploc, make sure you seal it with extra tape on the outside so it doesn't squeeze out. So lots of fun things you can do with a Ziploc as well. All right. Let's see. Okay, one other thing I wanted to mention with Play-Doh is that with your tongs you can create designs and work on finger strengthening at the same time while you're creating some cool designs using tongs, and again working on separating the two sides of the hand, working on using our go fingers. I believe this was an idea from the Handwriting Clinic from Jan McCluskey, handwritingclinic.com. She has a lot of great fine motor clinics and workshops. I'm pretty sure that's where I learned this, that these are our go fingers and these are our stop fingers. So we want our go fingers to do most of the work. Sometimes I'll put green stickers on these fingers and red stickers on these fingers as a reminder to use these. So anytime we're using our strawberry holers or any other tweezers, we're doing a nice job practicing using our go fingers. All right, what else? Have I exhausted everything on my table over here? No, I have not. Container count. Okay, so again, I found this container, cut a very small hole because I also want the student to work on pushing with a little more force to get it inside of the container. And so you could do something where let's count how many pennies there are. So let's put them all in our hand. Okay, so right now what we're going to do is we're going to be working on palm to finger translation with stabilization. That's just a technical term for moving things from your palm to your fingertip while holding on to some other things at the same time. So can your child do that, or your student, and then push it in? So there's one. Oops, I've got a lot and I just dropped one. Here comes two. A little too many in your hand at once. 3. And then you just continue on and count how many you have. You can do that with both hands and work on that palm to finger. You could also count them this way and work on finger to palm, and then with stabilization while you have them keep holding on like so. So anytime you can find containers and cut little holes in them, and use them. We can store things, various things in them, and cut little holes in the top and use them to work on using a pincer grasp. Would be a really good skill to work on that would translate to buttoning. Is another example. Okay, looking at my list with the pennies or Cheerios or any cereal for that matter, think about practicing letter formation. Again, start at the starting point. So if I'm going to make the letter E, I'm starting at the top and I'm making a big line down, and I'm going to jump to the top, make a little line over, the middle, little line over, the bottom, little line over, and I made the E. So you can do that with letters, numbers. Always encourage students to pick the pennies up straight from the table instead of sliding them off. That's cheating. Try to pick up from the table and practice that finger to palm translation with stabilization, and then one at a time putting them away, adding that extra little challenge. Okay. Straw. Okay, another straw activity. I discovered that, again, these are some Lucky Charms marshmallows, some lightweight cereal, and you can blow and have a race to see who gets, maybe you're the rainbow and the student is the horseshoe here, and you're seeing who gets to a certain location first, or picking it up with a straw by sucking in. Okay, so lots of fun things you can do with Lucky Charms or other cereals for that matter. Oh, speaking of Lucky Charms, I wanted to show you that you could create a memory game. So I have 2 of each. You can mix them up, put them underneath the cups. And it's going to be hard to visualize this, but if you have 8 cups, and you just do it just like a matching game. Getting a little cluttered here now, but you're going to do it just like a matching game where you have 8 cups or however many cups, and a different one is under each one, and you are trying to find, each of you are taking turns, and you're trying to find the ones that match. So you can do so many fun things with things you find, so many fun activities with things you find in the kitchen. I have almost exhausted my list, but a few more, looks like. Cup catch. Okay, you might have a little clementine or orange or something small enough to fit in the container, and you could play catch with a cup, working on eye-hand coordination. You could do some balancing activities where you're putting a larger fruit of some kind on the top. Maybe you do this on the way to lunch, on the way to eat lunch. You're encouraging them to do that. A balancing activity. So paper towel holder, even fruit can come in handy when working on fine motor skills and eye-hand coordination. All right, looking at my list, I might have made it through the list. All right, let me make sure I didn't forget anything. So we talked about using a toothpick, inserting them into the straw, toothpick on construction paper to make letters, numbers, and designs, using a pipe cleaner and pushing it into a colander, using a pipe cleaner and pushing it into a slit of a container that you found in the kitchen that you cut a hole through, putting Cheerios on spaghetti that you had inserted into Play-Doh, using that, you doing it with your fingers or with tongs, which is an added challenge. The homemade version of Kerplunk with styrofoam paper cups and spaghetti noodles. We talked about making a Ziploc balloon. And we talked about all the different kinds of tweezers you might be able to find or make out of a straw, or with a chip clip, strawberry holders, or out of popsicle sticks and being able to play games like dropping things into egg cartons, matching things in the egg carton, playing the game 7-Up where you're trying to stack, the first person to stack 7 pennies or stack 7 items without them falling over, or playing Drop It Like It's Hot where you are taking tongs and dropping them and trying to get them into a container, dropping the manipulatives into a container. We talked about using a chip clip or a clothespin as a gripper with a pencil. We talked about practicing moving things from palm to finger and inserting into a container that we had cut a slit in as well. We talked about making letters, numbers, and designs with cereal or coins. We talked about having a race with a straw to blow items or to pick them up by sucking through the straw and putting them in another container. We talked about playing catch with a cup and balancing with a paper towel holder. And we talked about using a Ziploc or a balloon to play balloon tennis, balloon toss, create a stress ball or a stress container filled with Play-Doh, rice flour, water beads, or balloon tennis with the paper towel holder, or pushing an animal into a barn that you had drawn on top. And then the only other thing on my list, 2 other things on my list, was cutting straws into pieces and then stringing them to make a necklace. Of course, you could do that with macaroni as well. You can string things with pipe cleaners. You can string things with with spaghetti noodles. You can even string things with shoelaces. And I did want to show you real quickly. This probably won't be in your kitchen, but it just made me think when I was thinking about stringing things, that if you have a student that needs to work on shoe tying, and you have access somewhere to a black shoelace and a white shoelace, connect the two and then lace this into a shoe so that one half is black and one half is white, and it just really helps for the student to visualize as you're demonstrating, to be able to see more clearly the steps they need to take when the 2 sides are different colors. So that's a total side note that I wanted to add in there. But cutting these straws can be good practice at home. And then the last thing I had forgot to mention, actually, I almost forgot this one, putting some dishwater in a little container and taking the straw and blowing in it to try to make letters or designs. And finally, you can use a spoon for so many things: balancing, playing games, picking up things, dropping it. A lot of the games we mentioned earlier with tweezers, you could change that up and use a spoon instead, and have some fun with that. So this was probably the longest video that I've done as far as intervention ideas. A lot of those things can be used in person at home. So as a parent, if you're a parent watching this, having fun with your child and doing those things together and doing things in a competitive way can make things so much more engaging and fun when they're involved with you. As a therapist in person, the same applies. You can also do almost all of these things you can do also using telehealth. So if you are a therapist who is working with a student online, most of these activities, if you had the materials on your end and the child has the materials on their end, you can have those races or those competitions. Who can do this the fastest? How long does it take you? How long does it take me? And you can be doing some of the same things on your end that they are doing on their end. And you can demonstrate the instructions and model what you want them to do, and then they can copy and imitate what you have asked for them to do. So many things just out of the kitchen that you can use to have fun with your students, to work on helping them to develop some of those fine motor skills that can help them really in life and in school. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you got some fun ideas to use at home, and maybe it even helped you to think of some other ideas that you can use with other items in your kitchen. So have fun exploring and enjoy some of these ideas.